what's up? This is Chanel Dupree with Foster Care and Fashion. I am super excited today. We are going to be interviewing Sarah, who is with Joy Meadows. We're going to hear all about this excellent idea regarding establishing an actual foster care community in our community. And so we're definitely going to hear about her. But while we are hearing about Joy Meadows, she is going to be getting a makeover because she is also a foster mom, an excellent foster mom at that. And she is our foster care mom of the month. So definitely stay tuned. I'm excited about our interview today, and we'll definitely hear more.
Okay.
So the nonprofit. Let's talk about Joy Meadows.
Yes. So with Joy Meadows, after being foster parents for years and years, we just saw that foster parents can have really the greatest impact on the kids while they're in care, more than caseworker or anybody, because they're with the kids 24/7. They can advocate for the kids to get the therapies they need, have the connections they need, work with the bio parents when it's safe, all of that. And yet, we also have such a high burnout rate because it is so difficult. So we were trying to find a way to support the foster parents and work within the current system in the state to just make foster care better, the time for the kids. And then also we saw so many siblings getting split up. It was just heartbreaking because they already went through so much trauma before they came into care. And then it would just further that by being split up because that's their family.
Right. And those relationships, those siblings relationships, those are so important.
So important. And that needs to continue, and it gets disrupted just like everything else in their life when that's the one thing that could stay the same.
Right.
And actually create more safety and stability for them. So in all that, in our frustration of being foster parents, we just thought there has to be a better way. So we started looking across the country for other models, and we came across these foster care communities and looked for one in Kansas, and there wasn't one. So we decided that we just needed to start that. Actually, we felt like God was calling us to start that. So that's how Joy Meadows was born.
What is a foster care community?
So what it is, you put foster homes within the same physical location, essentially a neighborhood, the same geographic location. So we'll build the homes, Joy Meadows will build the homes and own the homes and make them large enough to meet all the regulations so that foster parents who are really good at what they do can take in the maximum number of children allowed by regulation, basically, so they can keep sibling groups together. So
awesome.
You kind of take away, Joy Meadows, by owning and building all of that, takes away the financial obstacles sometimes that keep foster parents from the ability to do that, and also the emotional obstacles, because it is difficult to take in a lot of children, especially children with who've been through trauma.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of needs, and then when you're bringing multiple children in like that,
right,
to get them the services they need, these communities can provide the support the foster family needs. So they'll have therapy on site, just like a normal neighborhood would have a community center.
Yeah.
We'll have that, but therapists can come there and give the therapy to the kids.
I love that.
Therapists will be able to go into the home and teach the foster parents how to apply what they're learning. And by being a neighborhood of foster homes, other foster parents can support each other.
Yeah.
Respite care isn't with strangers, it's with your friend across the street who already knows the child and has a relationship with them.
Right.
It's not sending them off again.
To have to relearn someone else's unspoken rules in the home.
Yes.
And get comfortable again.
Traumas, that's one of the reasons it's hard to find respite care, and it just causes so many more problems when you've already tried to make some gains, with these children. So that lack of support is one of the reasons for the high burnout rate in the state of Kansas for foster care. So basically what we'll do at Joy Meadows is just fill in the gaps of what we see causing burnout for foster parents and where we see the lack of resources getting to the children in foster care. So another thing we can do by having them all in one physical location, one neighborhood, you can also kind of maximize the community resources that are out there.
Okay.
A lot of people want to help children in foster care. They just don't know how.
Okay.
If they're not foster parents themselves. So by having a Joy Meadows and a community center, churches can come in and help run a resource closet on site.
Yeah.
Someone who's really good at music can come in and in a safe way and location provide music lessons for free to the children that live at Joy Meadows.
At the community center that's right there.
At the community center,
at
yeah.
Joy Meadows.
So it gives them an access point that's a safe way, and they can support the foster families. Other people will be providing meals. For me, it was really hard on visit days. I would drive kids to Kansas City, Kansas, or Lawrence, or wherever their visit was once a week with their families, which usually causes more behaviors and traumas and triggers. And then we're rushing around, getting back right at dinner time. So to have a meal provided to you on a visit day is just huge as a foster parent.
Yeah.
So we can do that by coordinating the resources and volunteers at Joy Meadows. Little things like that. The other thing we'll have is there's all kinds of agricultural therapy. So that is just ways for kids to get involved outside, use their hands. So therapists can work with them there just by working in a community garden or with some small animals, those kind of things. It's all the things that foster parents want to do for their kids, but really logistics of getting kids to and from where they need to be often prevent that, especially when you're adding in multiple children.
Wow.
So.
Well, what about visits? So the 1 hour visits that, cases usually start off with, what does that look like?
Well, the sibling visits can happen all the time because either the siblings will be put in the same home or at least neighbors will be the goal. So it's not these orchestrated, go be with your family for 1 hour in a KDC office once a week.
Which is so unnatural.
It's so unnatural and difficult. We've had children too, because of the lack of foster homes, especially in the metro area, they're all over the state of Kansas.
Right.
And so they're driving 5 hours for their 1 hour visit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And these are little kids, and these are kids that have trauma even in vehicles and things like that. So the sibling visits would happen all the time. Now, the visits with the biological parent would still happen at the KDC office, but the location that we're looking at building, the great thing about it is it's exactly in the middle of the 4 main county offices in our area. So that would serve Douglas County. It's only 20 minutes to Lawrence from there.
Okay.
Only 20 minutes to the KCK office.
Oh, wow.
For visits, 20 minutes to Leavenworth office, and 20 minutes to the Johnson County office.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we can work with those main counties that need it so much right now. But again, save time for caseworkers. They'll get to come work, just visit the kids in one home rather than 6 homes across the state.
That's true.
They'll have more time for actually working with the kids and managing a case rather than
driving.
Yes.
Windshield time.
Right. And then what we've seen in these foster care communities also, some amazing, one of the really great outcomes is kids get to permanency much quicker. And that can happen kind of in 2 paths. If it's reunification with the parents, which is always the goal when they come in, that can happen a lot quicker because the foster family can build a relationship with the biological parents better if they're in close proximity. So like I said, it's only 20 minutes.
Right.
Also, working with one foster parent versus 6, especially if they're unknown and kids are just driven in transport cars, that relationship can't happen.
Yep. No, you're
And
right.
so that's something they've seen across the nation, these other foster care communities, that if that's a safe outcome, then that can happen much more quickly because that relationship that can be built. The other thing is the goal, if the goal has to turn to termination and adoption, that can also happen much more quickly because what happens right now a lot of times, kids are in care for 2 years maybe. You go to termination, they've lived in 4 or 5 separate foster homes, they're not a sibling group of 6 together, and so then they'll basically have to advertise the kids for 2 years or more to try to find someone that can take on a sibling group of 6.
Wow.
But if they've already lived together
Yep.
and they know how to do that and they've learned how to be a family, a lot of times the foster home, like through Joy Meadows or those foster communities, can go ahead and adopt them because they're already prepared for that. They have the support for that. Or people that have worked with these kids in and out of the community have a relationship and see the children as a sibling group together. So there's a lot more resources there of someone that has a connection with them just to provide them the support to get to do the best that they can at that with Joy Meadows. So part of our agreement for living in one of the homes, because it'll be for a minimal rent, will be you've been an experienced foster parent, so that means at least 2 years of foster care.
Okay.
Because there's so much that you gain in that time of learning how the system works, what you can ask for, when to advocate, when not to, those kind of things. That you'll agree to take the maximum number of children allowed for your home. So that can vary based upon the ages of the kids.
Okay.
The ages of your biological kids, if you have any.
Right.
So some people might take 6 kids, some might take 4.
Okay.
Say someone's called just teenagers, well that home, could potentially have 8 because over 16, the numbers change, how many you could have.
Okay.
It's more, do you have the financial stability and the space to take on those kids? So that'll be all part of the, I guess you would say, leasing agreement to live at Joy Meadows. And that you'll continue to be a licensed home and continue to foster within the mission of Joy Meadows.
So where have you seen the model work at, and is there a particular place where you feel like it's working the best?
Yes, and there's variations on the model. Some of them, which we looked at, it's actually a paid foster parent, so that's their job. They're the reason I didn't love that is because our goal is permanency for these kids, and it's for them to be in a family. And that kind of takes away, I think, that feel. So my favorite model, and the one we're really just going the most closely after, is called Pepper's Ranch in Oklahoma.
Oh.
And it is
Yay,
amazing.
Oklahoma.
I know, yay, Oklahoma. Who knew? They're in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And they've been operating for over 10 years now. Not sure what their current home number is up to. I want to say it's 18 to 20 on there, and they've just had amazing results.
So what's considered amazing results?
So, for example, in the state of Kansas, the burnout rate for a foster parent and foster family is about 10 months.
Whoa.
Yes.
So that's not even a year.
Not even a year. And then compare that to the average time that a child is in foster care.
Like 24 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what does that do to the disruption and the moves of the placements?
2 to 3 different placements
At
for
least
a child.
minimum.
Yeah.
And then you add in, sometimes they're moving them around to try to be with siblings, which is great.
Right.
But we had one little sibling set, they moved 3 times, not because foster parents didn't want them, but every time a home opened up that could take one more sibling,
Wow.
they would move them. And so that's what just the time in foster care, causes more trauma, really, the way it's set up. So with this type of model, that doesn't happen. So for example, when we met with Pepper's Ranch a year ago, over this time, they'd had 1 to 2 families move. So think of that, the difference in that retention rate over a 10-year period. And how many more kids you can help. And then the level of help you offer to them when you do have that experience as a foster parent is just so different. They also, one thing I like about their model, they, if you adopt, their goal, like I said, is permanency for the kids, and that's our goal too. And just the stability of a placement. And so if the foster home adopts the children, it's not like you're kicked out of the foster community.
Okay.
Because the support is still going to need to continue.
Yeah.
The same therapies, the same challenges happen. And there's a lot of disrupted adoptions as well.
Oh, yeah. And
so,
those are horrible.
Horrible. And so you don't want that to happen either. So that's what we'll do as well. Provide people the option if they feel like they want to continue living in Joy Meadows. If they adopt the children they've had, then they would still be able to. And what we've done over the last couple of years is how can we just create RAC teams for foster care?
Right.
And we've done that through the church.
Okay.
And that is a great thing to do as well. So this is a both and. Because not everyone, obviously, you can only have so many homes at Joy Meadows. And what we'd love to see is it replicated, I guess I should say, across the state once it gets going. So we need to have these support teams using like faith-based communities, other things like that to help provide the support we want to offer. But one of the benefits of having it in a physical community together, we also looked at, I guess I should say, just owning the homes throughout the city. What if we could just provide these homes to foster families so they could take in a sibling group?
But you don't have that
You don't have
communal
yes,
support.
you don't have the therapies. You still have, like, I drive about 15 hours a week getting kids to the different schools they need to be at that's best for them, because they each have different educational needs. Getting them to therapies, getting them to their visits, all that kind of stuff. Creating these sibling visits so that they happen more than just in the KVC office.
Right.
So you lose the benefit of, that the problem with logistics. That's one of the huge things for burnout, as well as the community of more people pouring into the kids and respite, and really the ability to maximize those community resources, like we were talking about, giving other volunteers the opportunity to come in and work with these foster kids. So that was why we went back to this model. And I do think, though, while across the nation, places that have done it, they've just all seen amazing success. It is a more expensive way to go to get it started. So,
but it's just getting it started.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then, you'd still have to rely on donations. But our goal is we're not going to go into debt.
Right.
We right now we're currently fundraising to purchase the land.
Okay.
We've got 2 different locations we're looking at. One has an existing home and a building that could be used as a community center.
Okay.
So we would be able to start right away, but the upfront cost is more for that, obviously, because it's a move-in ready, very large home.
Okay.
The other would be more of just empty land, and so then you're building the houses. So what we're doing is raising the funds for the purchase, and then we'll look for sponsorship for each home.
Okay.
Different organizations, businesses.
So a non-for-profit could theoretically build a home.
Yes. Yeah.
Or a church could build a home.
Yeah. For example, Pepper's Ranch, they have one that's like a, OKC Thunder home, or
wow.
Stuff like that. So that'll be our goal as we're building them.
So you're fundraising. So I know you have a gala coming up.
We do. It'll be
Ooh.
our first one. It's called
Listen from me.
Look it up. It's called the Building Joy Gala.
Okay.
Because that really is what we're doing this year. This is the building. This is the foundational piece.
Yeah.
So that'll be on November 10th at the Oriad in Lawrence.
Excellent.
And I think it'll be really good. We're gonna have a silent auction.
Okay.
And the auction will be available online for the week before.
Oh,
so
that's
it's not
smart.
just for those who attend.
Yeah.
And then the highest bid will be our starting bid that night. So.
Okay. How has the concept of Joy Meadows been received in the legal community and just the foster care community?
Yeah. We've had an overwhelming response, because everyone that's done it for a while goes, oh my goodness, this is it.
Yeah.
This is
makes
what we
sense.
need. Yes. At the same time, you hear like, oh, that's going to be so expensive, but I'm like, it's fine.
It'll work out.
We're not made of money, but if God told us to do it, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And so we've also been talking to DCF, and they're really excited about this model, and have been very supportive in the different agencies, talking to them, because we're not trying to take over. Another job that's already being done. Like I said, we don't want to be a child placing agency.
Right.
Let's let those people do their job. We're
Right.
trying to work within that framework so we can just maximize the resources that are out there.
Oh yeah, this is just another resource.
And partner together. And so it's been really great to see everyone jump on board with that partnership. Foster families, we've had a lot of people say, oh, how would you ever get people to commit to doing that? But what's interesting is once you really feel like you're called to foster and you get into it, what you hear from people is, oh, I just wish I had space to take more kids. Because your heart gets broken for them, and you realize, okay, I don't have to be perfect to do this. They just need someone to love them.
Yeah.
And what is so sad is to feel like you have to turn away kids just because you don't have an extra bedroom.
Yeah.
And so we've had a huge response from foster families wanting to be a part of it as well.
That's awesome, Sarah.
Yeah.
The work that you and your husband are doing.
Yeah, we're excited to see it happen.
You should be.
Hope that it happens sooner rather than later. Yeah, we'll see how successful the gala is.
It's gonna be smashingly
right.
Yes.
No, it'll be fun too. We also have Devin Henderson is he's like a what would the correct a mentalist and magician. You know, he's a neat Christian guy. Part of the entertainment that night, just for some fun.
What does a mentalist do?
So that's the crazy people that are like, I can tell you what you had for breakfast, and, do all those silly kind of just mind games with you a bit.
Mine would be, you had nothing, you had coffee.
I know, exactly. Coffee all day.
Wow, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And then, so there's different opportunities. People can sponsor a table. We've had some corporate sponsors come along and do that, or people can buy tickets individually online on our website.
Okay, and what is your website?
It's www.joymeadows.org.
Okay, awesome. Well, I plan on being there.
Oh, good.
Me and hubby, so it is on the calendar. This is such an important work that you're doing because it really is filling a void, and just the numbers that you're talking about, 10 months burnout,
Yes.
like,
Wow.
that's like, you never get the opportunity to know what you're doing, really.
Right.
Right?
You really don't. I mean, that's pretty much one placement, and then
One and done.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. Another thing for burnout too that's really hard. One of the things we want to offer at Joy Meadows is like a daycare or Mother's Day out on site, and that would be for the families living there, but also those in the surrounding community.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really hard as a foster parent to find somewhere that you would send your child. The reimbursement rate is so low, and a lot of kids need more help.
Right.
And so we want to have that on location, and also just other. So it's not just for the families that'll be living at Joy Meadows, but just some support in general. Like we'll have ongoing TBRI training.
Now, what does that stand for?
That's trauma-based relational intervention.
Okay.
That is a great training for foster parents to get beyond, the training you got for licensing.
Right.
So we can offer things like that at our community center, but it won't be just for the families living there.
Okay.
It'll be for those in the surrounding area. Yeah. Same
That's
thing
awesome.
like with resource closet, clothing closet, that kind of stuff.
And so, Sarah, how long have you and your husband been a foster parent?
Well,
Parents.
I guess officially, we started, 20 years ago in ministry now, I guess. But when we started, we worked in the inner city and bought a house. So we had a lot of unofficial children that would just come in and out of our home all the time.
Yeah.
And we were working with families and kids in the inner city in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
So we weren't officially foster parents then at all, but over the years we had kids living with us.
Okay.
And then when we had children even and moved out of there, we had a sweet girl live with us until she graduated high school. So when we moved and we started foster care licensing, goodness, that was 10 years ago there, I guess. But we wanted to have this homeless teenager live with us, and so that didn't work with foster care, so we just kind of kept that on hold. So in Kansas, I guess it's been 5 years
Okay.
since we moved back to Kansas and have done it here.
But informally, you all have been doing it
For years.
Yeah.
All the different,
Not there. Right where my brush is. Look right. Oh, there we go.
so yeah, we've kind of seen the whole picture, I guess, of working with the families, working with the kids before they go into care, and then what it looks like while they're in foster care.
Wow.
And then the support system for the church, I'd say the last 3 to 4 years, just figuring out what that needs to look like for these foster families.
Okay. And support is everything. Like when we think about just how we naturally need help and support when we have our own children, it's amazing that we then think that, okay, I can take these foster kids in, but then there's no support to help to maintain that stability and sanity, right, that the
Right.
folks that are helping need while they're giving of themselves and their homes and things of that sort. Support is everything.
It really is, because you need someone to tell you, when you want to give up, that you're not crazy and
Yeah.
you did this for a reason and you're still, these kids are your kids and it's going to be okay. Or when you feel like decisions are made that are in the best interest of the kids,
Yeah.
instead of quitting, to just keep going and advocating where you can.
Yeah.
Whether that's a decision by a judge or whether that's a decision by a caseworker. That kind of support's so important. In addition to just, it's just, sometimes it's sad. It'll break your heart a little bit.
Yeah.
And so you need those relationships of people that understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
And then the people that aren't in the foster care, they can, we have huge support. Because I have 7 kids right now. And there's no way I could do that without our support staff.
Thank you.
But I was about the support that we have, and this is what we'll do with families at Joy Meadows too. So we have sort of like an adopted grandparent family, and they come in and they build a relationship with the kids that we have in our home.
Okay.
So it's not, it's not just us saying you're valued, you matter.
Yeah.
You can do great things with your life. It's them hearing that from another family person.
That's awesome.
Someone that comes to birthdays, someone that, maybe like once a month might take them to lunch or something. And then we have sort of like the adopted aunt and uncle.
Oh, wow.
And they do the fun stuff that, when you're the foster parent, sometimes you have to make the hard decisions that kids don't want to be parented, but they need it.
Yeah.
And so you need someone else sometimes to come in and get to do the fun spoiling things, or the, when I need a break, okay, go take them to do something. And so we have that family that can do that for us, or help with sometimes driving kids to therapies or things. So it's, again, it's not a stranger, it's someone they know.
Yeah.
And that is, so those people don't do foster care, but they've had the background check, and then they're willing to build those relationships. So
You've established your own circle of support.
that's what those RAP teams are that I talk about.
Yeah.
And then we have other families who, they don't really want the involved relationship with the kids, but they're willing to make a meal once a week. So those meals are ready and prepared once a week, and then they're delivered to foster families. And so we're the bit, we get that. We couldn't make it without that.
That is awesome.
So
I am done.
Oh my gracious.
Probably
Here
won't
we
even
go.
recognize myself.
The
with
revealing.
makeup on.
The
Okay.
revealing.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's what I look like with makeup. By someone that knows what they're doing.
Right.
What do you think?
That's beautiful. Thank you. You look much more awake. That's great.
There we go.